Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Come in and join the class. Feel free to say hello in the chat. As you can see, I have said hello, everyone. This is actually Basti. It's not Cliff there in the chat. It's me again. I'm almost tempted to say I'm sorry. You've had me now 3 weeks in a row, I think. Hello, Liz, said from South Norfolk. We've got Titus from Cumbria. Hello. Anyone else who wants to say hello in the chat and where you're from? It's just been thank you very much, Gillian. It's just been a lot of stuff going on. Different people each time normally, but different things have been happening these last few weeks, so we've had to get a few different things going on. And here we have Kat in the chat. Hello, Kat.
Hello, hello. I thought I'd just pop on and say hello and thank you very much, Basti, for doing this morning class.
Good.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Anyway, I'll disappear.
Oh, lovely to know we have you here, Kat. So yeah, anything you need to ask about, guys, pass it on to Kat, and maybe I'll have a moment as well. If you've got any questions, flag them up. We'll see if we can do it, because we've got a really interesting point this week. One of the most fantastic points, and I'm going to try and make sure that we get more time to focus on it today. Lots of people today, and I'm loving how much everyone is saying hello and where everyone is from. So hello, everyone, and let's get started. So as normal, the first thing I'd like us to do is start gathering as a circle. So when you finish typing in hello and where you're from, let's just take a moment, sitting or standing. I'm going to stay sitting for a moment. So close your eyes. Close your eyes, just take a breath and settle. And then with the eyes closed, imagine being in a lovely big circle of people, and that is everyone here today and everyone joining this class at a later point whenever they can. So hello everyone who is here, and just have a moment of being in this circle, being in this class, and sharing a sort of a hello and we're here, present moment, and with that a bit of thanks. Lovely. When you're ready, open your eyes. So I'm going to start with a poll of, at the moment, how are you coping? So we've done this quite a bit. It's really to kind of gauge where we're at the moment. And even if we don't meet your needs in this class necessarily, it's just useful for us sometimes to know where we're at before we start doing any work to go to doing anything else. So we've got about half of us have answered so far. A little bit of coping well, mostly I'm okay. A little bit neutral, some people stressed, and some people very stressed. But mostly we're up in the I'm okay and pretty neutral. So it's good that there's a lot of energy of being okay today. Share the wealth. And anyone else who's in the neutral or stressed zone, we are going to start to see what comes from that place anywhere else. So let's see what we can do. Just bring that back. Yeah, Kat has had some stress. I've had lots going on, so this is going to be great. And I'm really interested to see what the point of the week is going to bring up, because like I said, it's a beautiful one. Now, I've got another question that is going to relate later to the point of the week. So here we go. We're going to do another poll. Which of these emotions do you feel most often? And take it as a sort of like anger is also a bit of frustration and uncertainty. Fear can be sort of just general intrepidation, or sadness, worry, mania, I'm guessing is not going to come up that much, but it could also just be like hyper awareness, like, are you really on all the time with your mind? Worry can also be overthinking, overanalyzing. And one thing, whilst you're marking out on the poll, I'd like to just say is all of these have behind them a balanced quality. So this is in a sense asking which of these emotions are the unbalanced quality of the energy. The balanced quality of that same energy is actually a great power or love or excellent sort of quality that we tend to go, oh, this is what we want. But they're both part of the same energy. And so it's okay. It's okay to have anger, fear, sadness, worry, mania. So for instance, behind the anger, there's often a certain amount of creativity and direction, but it might be that the direction is getting stifled, the creativity is not being expressed, and that can lead to frustration and anger. So fear, for instance, can often come actually from having great power. And great power, when it doesn't have purpose and direction to go in, can become this build-up that is actually something that we can fear. And especially the one we're going to focus on is the worry, overthinking, which can actually come from just really caring. So it's really useful to remember these. And you'll see why in a bit that I focused on those three. Okay, so I'm just going to check back which was the main one we had. Yeah, worry. Worry was the main one. And that is part of the earth element that we're in at the moment with these points of the week. So let us stand up. But actually, let's just have a really quick look at the point of the week. I just can't resist it. It's just such a wonderful one. Let's have a quick look at the point of the week and have a feel for it and see what we get. So spleen 6. And we're not going to focus on the details too much, but as you can see where it is, I'm going to get the chair and I'll show you on myself as well. Good morning to anyone who is just arriving. Good morning, Catherine. Jump in where you are. We've done some polls and stuff. So we're just about to have a brief check-in with the point. So as you can see, the inner ankle, not the outer ankle, the inner ankle, go from the tip of the inner ankle or the medial malleolus, and your forefinger widths up from pretty much from the tip or just above. It's sort of in that range, and you don't have to be too precise because it's a big area that this really works with. And the more you tune into the energetics of it, the more you can kind of range. But basically, you find the edge of the bone and come back so that you're kind of pretty much halfway along in the leg, in the soft tissue. And it's 4 fingers width up. So it'll be there. Find this point. Spleen 6. And just sink into it and just have a sense of what that's like, tuning into that point. It may be tender. Now, I'm going to say here, is there anyone who is pregnant or feels they could be pregnant? Because this is one of those contraindicated points with pregnancy. Unless you are really far down and near your end of your last trimester. If you are near the end of your last trimester, this is actually going to be a good point. And if working with anyone in labor, this is a fantastic point, specifically for helping the cervix to open. So if there's any issues with babies being turned or the wrong way around, then excellent. Then it's really useful for movement and for opening the cervix, more for the baby to be really able to come through. So helpful for labor, not helpful for any earlier point in pregnancy. Other than that, lovely. Oh, such a great point. If working on someone else can be tender, so don't jump straight in. Okay, We're going to come back to that point, so don't worry if you haven't done much, but let us know what it's like for you. Always nice to hear from you. We are going to go into, there you go, there's my face. We're going to go into a scan now. So a little bit of playtime at the beginning. We'll just do a bit of scanning. So get yourself comfortable whether you're sitting or standing. Okay, eyes closed, bringing your attention inwards to yourself. Start at the top of the head, and from the top of your head, scan down through the head. How's your head? Front, sides of the head, back of the head, the face, sense organs, jaw, into the neck. How's your throat at the front, sides of the neck, back of the neck? And let's go into the shoulders. Tops of the shoulders, out to the tips of the shoulders and down the arms. How are my shoulders and arms today? Scan all the way down through the arms, the elbows, forearms, into the wrists and hands, somewhat more fiddly bones and tendons and ligaments. Wiggle the fingers. And get a sense of the entire of the arms and shoulders and neck and head. How is that structure? Okay, and then bring that into the chest and upper body. How is the back, upper back? And then the rib cage in general, front, sides, back of the ribs, spine. And how about inside? How are you feeling inside in the torso? And going through the trunk of the body, the belly, the abdomen, the lower back. How's your lower back today? And then the hips, front of the hips, sides, back, sacrum, buttocks, and through the thighs, longest part of the body, longest bone in the body, the femur, long muscles of the thighs to the knees, big knee joint. How are the knees today? Interesting. And through the calf muscles and the shins, all the way down through that lovely spleen 6 point to the ankles, and the feet and the toes, wiggle them on the ground. And now get a sense of the whole body as one cohesive unit. How is this body feeling? How am I as a person today? And is there anywhere that is catching my attention? Where is my attention going to? Okay. And bring yourself, you can bring your eyes open if you don't already have your eyes open. And keep that in, or actually let's just, if you've got paper and pen, let's just do a little quick drawing of what that is like. So if you get a sense of that scan as an image, what would that be like? Okay, so mine's pretty simple. As you can see, I've got a bit too much stuff going on up here. Definitely not enough down in the legs. Okay. Now, if you would like, stand up again if you're not already standing. Any notes that you've taken, brilliant. We're going to go through the 3 burners as usual. We won't spend too much time focusing on, we won't spend as much time in detail working the burners this time because I really want us to get into the spleen 6 point. So if we go into scanning the 3 burners and just seeing what they're like, we'll do the same thing, make some notes as usual. We'll do a poll to see which one we want to work with, and then we'll do some work to harmonize and be able to get our Qi flowing more freely. And then we'll come to the point again. Okay, so let's get into the lower burner. Belly button to pubis, the pubic bone. So just take your attention inside. I like using the hands to help this. What's it like in the lower burner here? Realm of the intestines, bladder, kidney. General feeling of the lower quadrant of our body. And no need to spend too long, but get a sense of that as an image or words, a quality, something. And if you're really not sure, that's okay. Wait for a moment, because we will do a little bit of comparison. We're going to come to the middle burner now, from the diaphragm down to the belly button. It's about the same amount of space each time. So diaphragm to belly button, this space in the middle of the torso. And this is more about the liver, the gallbladder, the stomach, and the spleen and pancreas. Just as we tune into it, I'm going to need to burp, so bear with me. There we go. Already getting the digestion going. So tuning in to the middle burner, what's it like in this space? Interesting. Now, is that exactly the same as the lower burner was? So just do a little comparison. Pardon me. Middle burner is like this. We're with the middle burner. That's the quality of it. Now bring your attention down to the lower burner. Sink inside. Is it exactly the same as that one? No, so then you can get more of a sense of how different it is and what quality it's like. So now let's come to the upper burner, from the diaphragm up to the collarbones. Again, similar sort of space. Use your hands if you want to, just use your attention your mind if you want to. And here we have the lungs, the heart, and the heart protector, the pericardium. How is the upper burner today? Okay, and again, check in, down to the middle burner. And how is that different to the upper burner? And is there some kind of an image or words that come about with that? And let's put them down on any paper that you may have. So I'm going to just partition this picture off so that it's pretty clear. Constriction here, and a little bit. You see, I spend way too long doing pictures. I really like drawing. So this is what I've done for my 3 burning spaces. As you can see, the top is a bit like clouds, a bit of a cloudy day. The middle burner was a bit constricted and a little bit wobbly, and the lower burner is a bit sort of, it's meant to be quite wet, and sort of, it's often talked about that the lower burner is like the ditch for the drainage, so it's more watery. The middle burner a bit more like a field, or even potentially more of a marshland. And then the upper burner is more like the mist that sits above it. So not far off with mine, but the middle burner definitely needs some work on. That's just me. So let's just see, which burner do you want to work on most today? So feel free to share. How are we doing? Already 20 minutes in, but I kind of knew we were going to be like this. So it's fairly even, but looking a bit like the lower and the middle are more important today. Which I can understand. We've had a lot more sort of damp and heaviness around recently, And yet, because it's summer, there's a lot of things trying to happen. So it's often going to be that sort of like trying to do lots, kind of being a bit like weighed down. Yeah, that's it. Lower and middle, pretty even, and upper not that much further behind. So, okay. What's this? There was a middle burner very hot with you, Carol. Or was that you observing mine? I'm not really sure. But either way, we're going to do some work on it now. So let's now really stand up and get into the actual work of going into the 3 burning spaces. Before we do, let's just start with, when we did the scan, whereabouts was your attention taken to? For me, I was kind of generally upper body area, so that's where I'm going to start. And we're going to do a little bit of shaking. So I'd like you to start loosening the body. So for instance, if for you, if it was down in the hips, you can start with this sort of thing. If it's in the knees, you know, arms, I'm going to be up here. So having a little bit of a loosen and a shake of your particular area to focus on. And if it's hard to get to that particular area, then you can use a little bit of like using your voice to tune into it, whatever's needed. Hopefully you're not standing in the middle of the street doing this, in which case you might look a little bit silly, but that's okay. Using some loosening up of the particular area that was where your attention was caught. So give it some attention. Just observing it, seeing what comes from it or with it. And then take the shaking out into the whole body. However that works for you. Don't forget the face. And the hands and the feet. We'll be coming to all of these things, of course, in good time. Okay. And then let it sort of settle a little bit, so it's more just like little bounces throughout the whole body. And then smaller still, so there's almost no body movement at the exterior of the body, but it's more becoming internal. But you can still feel that bounce and that movement and that energy until it's sinking deeper and deeper into your center, until finally just letting it go. Notice what that's like for you. Okay, now we're going to begin with the lower burner. So if you can reach round to the back, we're going to rub the kidneys. If you can't reach round to the back, do some circles at the front below the belly button. So my belly button is here, my pubic bone is here. You're in that lower burner space. So if you can't reach to the kidneys, circling here, and you're building up Qi, and you're also encouraging the hands to pour that Qi into your lower burner all the way through towards the spine. If you can reach the back though, circling, it's bringing up my shirt, circling sort of sacrum to kidneys. And if it helps, bounce the legs, because then your arms don't have to do so much. And check in with your lower burner picture and feeling. Is it that you need to move something that's stuck? Is it that you need to charge something up that was a bit weak? What was it like? For me, it was kind of like a bit boggy and watery and sludgy. So I'm wanting to kind of warm it and get it a little bit more moving. So that's going to be the quality that I'm working with. So I'm actually going to put a little bit more sort of speed into this. So if I was at the front, it would be more like this. Okay. And then again, letting that just come to a little bit of a close. Okay. We're going to tap down the bladder and then back up the kidney. So sacrum, backs of the legs, out to the little toes. You can squeeze kidney 1. We're going to come back to it in a bit. And then I find turning the toes out and coming back up the inside of the back of the legs for kidney. Bladder to the little toe. Kidney 1, up kidney. Last time. And then let's just take a few nice deep breaths into the lower burner. So taking a nice breath in. Hold it for a moment, let it settle, then breathe out. Okay. Hold it, let it settle, breathe out. And now breathing in, whether you need warmth, light, or just ease. Let it settle, do what it needs to do, and breathe out only what's not needed. Letting that stay bright, warm, ease, whatever's the action that was going on for you. So breathing in, feel or see what is needed, what is happening. And as you breathe out, let it settle in more. Lovely. Breathing in. Last time. Okay. Let's get into our kidney 1 and squeeze our feet a bit just to really open up through to the floor. Chair back again. We all know where kidney 1 is now, but let's just play with it anyway. Yeah. So as we see, below the dirty patch of my sock, I did try and wash these socks, by the way. So just squeezing into the feet. And like we've said before, if you can't reach your own feet, first, try and get someone else to do your feet. Second, use a ball or, definitely well worn and well grounded. Thanks, Kate. Use a ball or the corner of something, like a really big book or step or something. And then just have a bit of a general squeeze around. I've got a little niggly bit there that's really a bit sore, so that's good. I'm going to get into that. It's really worthwhile to find the points of discomfort and allow them, work with them, because they are part of everything that is changing and moving. The real thing with life is that everything always changes. The only thing that stays the same is the fact that everything changes, as I remember finding out long ago. And when you sort of hold into a place of discomfort, just finding how you soften with it. Good on you for doing barefoot gardening, Jane. I go barefoot as much as possible. Oh, there we go. Okay, give it a little bit of a slap. Rub all of your feet. Place it down. Notice one foot to the other. Now get this foot and the same again. So it's 1/3 of the way down. Boom, boom, boom. 1/3 of the way down. Opening kidney 1. Easing open that gate for the bubbling spring of earth, qi, and yin. again, that's quite uncomfortable. In fact, I think I've got some scar tissue in this foot because I once jumped into a very shallow river and put my foot down instead of landing flat and cut my foot open. So I've got some scar tissue in here. So it's actually really good to have a little massage with that. Lovely. Okay, opening out the foot in general, having a squeeze play, moulding the dough, and a bit of a slap. And if you can't reach your feet, this can be done by whacking your feet on the ground. Okay. Now let's just tune in, feet on the ground. You can imagine yourself barefoot, just kind of scrunch your toes on the ground. Get a sense of your kidney 1 opening all the way through the channels in the leg that we just opened, the bladder and kidney, into the lower burner. Feel that lovely connection. Okay, so we always focus more on the lower burner because it's really, really helpful. It underpins everything else. Let's move now to the middle burner. So we're just going to do a couple of good movements. One of them is going to be the twisting movement for the liver and gallbladder. So feet about hip to shoulder width apart. I prefer shoulder width apart. Feet forwards, knees a little bit bent over the tops of the feet. And when you twist, you're kind of wanting to leave your knees pretty much over your feet. So you turn the hips and just start by turning from one corner of the room to the other. Just get that feeling started. Allow your lower back to soften, front of the hips to soften, and your tailbone just, don't force it to tuck under, you just let it relax so that it sinks under. It's like, instead of being arched like that with the bum out, you soften the lower back, soften the front of the hips, and you notice how that sinks the sacrum. So it's more like you're on a center pole all the way through the body. And the knees are pretty much staying forwards over the feet. Grounded with that lovely kidney 1 open, connected all the way through the core of your legs. So I'm going to face you now. Now notice if you are needing to open this movement out a bit more, to release more, or whether that is just too much for you and you need to keep it a little bit softer and easier, or in fact, if you need to be so smoothly, slowly building that you're simply just making it more of a gentle Qi Gong type movement, or whether it's more of a Qi releasing kind of movement. So I'm needing to do a little bit of this releasing. Now, the other thing you can do if you need to is, if you're doing a bit more of this releasing, is you can send your hands to more of an area which might need a bit of releasing. So I've got tight shoulders like I did in my picture. So I'm okay. And then letting that soften, letting the movement kind of come to a close of its own, letting the body softly just come back to its own sense of center. Not being completely like, just still being structured in your centeredness. Letting the movement come to a close of its own accord. Still got a little bit of movement in my center. And then let that go. The other movement we'll do briefly, what time have we got to? Already halfway through. Is going to be the expression. So Shizuto Masunaga, the man from Japan, who brought Shiatsu to a whole nother level through the 60s, 70s. He really revolutionized it by talking about the expressions of the Qi. So not just the quality of it, but the expression. So the expression we're going to go into is the earth element expression. And that is about nourishment and nurturing. So I want you to, with your feet still sort of like nicely planted on the ground, imagine you're gathering to you all that you need. You're gathering food at hand, and just the right kind of food. And maybe it's just really what you're hankering for. Oh, I want that chocolate. Oh, yum, yum, yum. Or maybe it's just, no, I'm getting berries and nuts and seeds and being a healthy person of today's society. Whatever is right for you, you work with. So you work with that sense of gathering food, gathering that nourishing food, and maybe bringing it in a sense through, it opens into the gums and the mouth, through the esophagus into the stomach. So gather into your belly. Gather that energy of food into your belly, reaching out, bringing it in and down, reaching out, bringing it in. And feel the energy, the expression of reaching out to gather in. What's it like to have the energy to reach your limbs out, to then be able to gather in? And when you've gathered in, that energy to still be able to reach out and gather in. And another way we can do this is to feel emotionally nurtured. So what is it that we actually are needing right now on more of an emotional level? So not just the feeling of nourishing oneself with food, but how do I feel? What am I actually reaching for in life? Am I reaching for a quality of maybe, well, I can say for me right now, emotionally, there's a sense of wanting everything to be okay. There's a little bit of uncertainty within me, and I'm finding my way, but I'm wanting to be okay. I'm almost wanting someone to take my hand in the journey that I'm on at the moment in myself. So that's what I'm reaching for. I'm bringing it in. It's not to say that that's exactly what I'll get, but that expression and energy. So just keep going with this for a moment. And we could go through all the different vibration levels. We're not going to. But just to finish this off, all that we've taken in, just give a few nice big circles to digest that into your body. The energy that is ripe and ready to be transformed and transported around the body. For the stomach is said to rotten and ripen, to ready it. And the spleen is said to transform and transport, to take the Qi that is ready immediately and send it out to the limbs so that we don't feel heavy, we feel able to carry on. Middle boner done, upper boner. Here we go. So let's just notice how taking a breath in like this is a bit like when you wake up in the morning and yawn. So let's just do a yawn and stretch. Ready? Yawn and stretch. Notice how that feels across the chest, shoulders, and arms. Let's just do that another time. How does that feel in the shoulders and the arms? Is that okay? One more time. Maybe start to open up a little bit more, having done it a few times. And let's just do this stretch as well, breathing in forwards. Breathing out, opening the arms, letting the middle fingers just press back a little bit, soften the shoulders. Breathing in. Opening up the upper back and shoulders for the triple heater, and then opening up the Heart protector, middle fingers back, palms of the hand open. This is for the heart and the heart protector. I'm starting to heat up a bit. I have to take off my jumper. Okay. And finally, we will do a heart. It's not too much of a stretch, but it's a bit of a heart expression. So hands to your heart in prayer position, and then with the hips soft, the knees soft, and the ankles soft, allow your hands to float out, but staying at this sort of level, the heart level. You still got this connection with the heart and your hands. And then lift your elbows up a bit so you feel the stretch underneath here. So feel the stretch underneath. And then bend from the hips, but keep the hands out in front. You're not keeping the hands here, you're keeping them out in front and the elbows high. Bend the knees to come back in. So it's a bending, and it's this thing of giving honor and thanks. You know, this is bowing. This is saying, I recognize. You could say, this is like namaste in India, which means the aspect of God within me sees the aspect of God within you. This is an honoring spirit. Hands in front of heart, connect with the heart. And that beautiful aspect of the heart, elbows a little bit raised, bend at the hips and bow. Bend the knees to come back up. And last time, hands to the heart, connect to the heart. Open, elbows high, shoulders relaxed, and bend and bow. Thank you. And give honor. Bend the knees, let the hands relax. And notice the feeling in difference to when we were doing this stretch. Also to do with the heart somewhat, a very different feeling now exists within us. Okay, we will just tap down some of the yang channels to sort of bring that back down. So go over the top of the head. This is bladder, just from the middle, from the eyebrow here. I'll come a bit closer so you can see. From the inner eyebrow edge, over the top, to the back of the neck. And then go around the sides of the head. This is for the gallbladder. What time are we at? 3/4 of the way through. And we've got the triple heater closer to the ear. So if I hold my ear down, you're literally pressing around the ear and then around the back of the occiput. So squeezing around the ear, back of the occiput, across the forehead and down the face. Just give the face a little bit of a massage and a wash. It's got stomach and large intestine in the front of the face, under the sinuses, the nose, the mouth. Those are very important yang channels. Releasing the jaw. And you've got the neck. So you can get into this how you wish. If you want, you can do both sides at the same time. I don't like doing that. I prefer doing one side at a time. Pressing on that lovely, strong sternocleidomastoid muscle. It's one of my favorite names. And then going a bit further out to the side, as you can see here. So I like using my thumbs. You can use, like Cliff does, the edges of the hands for the sides of the neck. Okay. And then, one of my favorites, tapping on top of the shoulders. Just a loose fist out to the tip. And if you can, reaching over the top so that you're a bit more towards the upper edge of the scapula. And you can, if you want to, you can hold the elbow, make it a bit more loose. Other side. Okay, brush down the outsides of the arms and down the sides of the body. And reach around to the back as high as you can reach and tap the back down to the sacrum. Do a little bit of the legs. Outside of the legs. Okay. Shake up, everyone, shake up. Now I'll step back. Let us just tune in. So you know when we did our scan and then we had a scan of the entire body, let's just take our attention inwards again. Get a sense of ourselves head to foot and a scan of the whole body. And how are we now? 3 burning spaces, harmonized a bit more. Channels opened and flowing. There we go, yeah. Digestion moving. And, okay, we've got a bit of time to focus on the point of the week. So, if you need, find yourself a seat. I'm going to get the slide back up and we can focus on it a bit more. Shazam, spleen 6, San, Yin, Jiao. San is 3, Yin is yin, and Jiao is meeting or the place or a confluence, convergence. So as we said, 4 fingers width up from the ankle. So here we are. Okay, so the reason why it's called San, Yin, Jiao is because you have all 3 yin channels of the leg converging at one point here. I'm going to drop this slide down a moment. We'll come back to this. I just wanted to... So, if you look at my leg, now we've got the spleen channel. So this is the edge of the bone here. So we've got the spleen channel in the flesh, just to the side of the spleen, just to the side of the bone, coming all the way down like that. The liver comes from the edge of the knee here. If you remember, we did liver 8 a while ago. It comes around the edge of the calf muscle, side of the calf muscle. Then it comes around like that to the edge of the bone, and it comes down the edge of the bone there. Now, kidney is more from behind the corner of the knee and down the back of the calf muscle, inner back of the leg here. So 3 yin channels running down like that. However, they all come together just at this point. They all, from their 3 different channels running down, all just go and meet together at this point. Not only why it's called 3 yin meeting, but also why it regulates all 3 yin channels. It harmonizes all 3 yin channels, and so can be used for so many things. It's one of the most used points in the entire body by acupuncturists and shiatsu practitioners alike. So, sorry, I'm getting caught up reading chat. I always forget I need to stop doing that. It can, well, actually, before we go into what it can do, let's just tune into it, and you can then let me know what's coming up for you. So if everyone takes a moment, find this point really well. So you've got the tip of the ankle, inner ankle, 4 fingers width up. Nice, loose, open thumb. Let the weight of the arm sink down. Intend that weight and your attention into the point. And notice, do you feel it more locally in the area? Do you feel it more opening the channel as a whole? Do you feel it more physically in the body somewhere else? Or is it moving into one of the other vibrational levels, more emotional, mental, even spiritual qualities. What's it like for you? Okay, so I'm having two main effects happen. So I'm going to let you know. You can always write it in to let me know, and we'll see what it's like with the other side as well. The first thing I noticed, obviously tenderness in the point. It moves up and I feel the channel just opening up through the leg. So it's clearing the channel, opening and activating the channel. The next thing is my attention goes to my head, which I had, as you remember in my image, lots of head and shoulder stuff. I had lots of energy stuck up here, and I've had a very fuzzy head for the last few days. And I felt the clouds parting from the upper burner. I felt the head start to become less heavy, start to lighten up. And a heavy head is a damp head or a damp mind. And that comes from the spleen Qi being a little bit deficient. And this is, of course, a spleen point. So it's activating. You see, so that's having an active effect. So what was it like for you guys? So those are the two effects I was having. So it was physical, but also when it got into the head, that was then more mental as well. So I'm interested. Please do feel free to let us know what you experience, because this is the thing. It's different for all of us. And if you are someone who's a practitioner, you can also start to recognize when it's having a bit of a different effect on one person to another person. So Carol, you had a pulsing feeling. Caroline, painful and emotional. Cat, just yummy. Painful, yes, it often is. Be gentle and tender. That's why I didn't say just, let's get in there. It's like open the thumb, open the joints of the thumb. Relax your shoulder and your arm so the weight just simply sinks in. Definitely clearing the head, sore but powerful, sense of opening up the channel upwards. That's beautiful. So now on this side, what's that like? Okay, okay, this is great. It's going instantly into my digestive system, and I'm getting an emotional sense of, like I was talking about earlier when we were doing the gathering, that emotional feeling of someone taking my hand. It's almost like I'm feeling that. It's actually making me quite emotional. I'm really appreciating this. This is so nice playing with you all. Thank you. Yeah, feeling of being taken care of, and the livening of the head and the jaw wants to release. God, so much fantastic effect comes from this one point. But it's because, in a sense, it's 3 points. It's a liver point, a spleen point, and a kidney point. And so I'll read from here. I mean, the list of effects, basically, in this book, here's the spleen 6, right? A little bit of information there, and then two more whole pages. And that is okay. That is okay. Just allow yourself to sink in and notice if it's appreciated, holding the point, or if it's not appreciated. That's just the sort of best place to start from. And trust as well. So tonifies the spleen in the stomach, of course. Helps to resolve that dampness, that heavy, sluggish feeling. Remember, I had a bit of like sludginess here. So it helps to clear that kind of damp, sludgy, heavy feeling we can have. Harmonizes the liver and tonifies the kidneys. And therefore can help to regulate menstruation, induce labor, like I was saying. It harmonizes the lower jiao, the lower burner. It regulates urination issues and benefits the genitals. It calms the spirit. I'll tell you in a moment which book. And it invigorates the blood. The blood and the spirit, Shen, are very closely linked because they're in the heart. So this thing I asked at the beginning with mania, that's related to the heart, but that hyper-awareness, see so much from this one point. you know, because the spleen is said to underpin the ability for the blood to be nourished, and therefore for the heart to be settled, and therefore for the Shen to be embodied. So that needs the spleen to be regulated. So carry on working the point as I'm reading from here. It also activates the channel and alleviates pain. So many of us notice that thing of activating the channel, feeling it through the leg. Okay, I'm going to leave that one. But this book is called A Manual of Acupuncture by Peter Deadman. I don't know if you can read that. It's a bit fuzzy on the screen. But Peter Deadman and Mazin Al-Kafaji with Kevin Baker, A Manual of Acupuncture. Peter Deadman, look that name up. This one, Images and Functions, just gives great briefer descriptions of the points, why they're called what they're called, and what they're good for. So it's an intersecting point of the liver, kidney, and spleen. It refers to the point's intersection with the 3 yin channels of the foot. So the 3 yin channels that come down, they literally come together at that point. They don't just pass near each other, they actually converge. And that doesn't happen very often in the body. So the point, good for me, experiencing headless chicken manic plus worry anxiety. Absolutely. It just works with it all. And it can even be beneficial for the lungs in the sense that with the kidney is said to anchor the qi that the lung descends. And the spleen sends energy up to the lung and the heart for converging to make a more embodied quality of qi that is sent out across all of the channels and carries the blood around the body. So the qi that moves the blood directly and is said to be the more sort of human qi is when the kidneys have informed the spleen has informed the lungs and the heart, and all of that is gathered in the chest, zhong qi, the big qi of the chest, because it's all come together. Right? And that gets sent out and about along with the blood, and anything that's left over gets descended and dispersed by the lungs, which gets anchored by the kidneys, and it starts all over again. And so this point, it just does it all. So yeah, if you've got that heaviness from damp, if you've got menstruation issues, even lower back stuff, wow, just wow. You can see why we're so excited by this kind of point. And it can feel different when you hold it in different ways. Like, it is painful, so be sensitive with it. But like I was saying earlier, if you have discomfort, don't just try and push through, but try and soften and notice how that discomfort expresses itself, what it says to you, where it goes, where else in the body it starts to conjure something up. Because all of those things are part of the healing journey. You see, so a discomfort point is a great point. The discomfort in our life is the seed of our gift, therefore our grace. Okay, I'm going to move the chair. The last thing we're going to do, I know there's so many questions to come up. So Shen is mind, yes, but it's also spirit, as Kat said. It's also consciousness. It's also encompasses awareness and all these things. So with our awareness, the energy and the play of this class that we've had, let's just have this moment of connecting together as a circle. So close your eyes, leave the keyboard, bring your attention inside for a moment. With all of that lovely work that we've done, just take a breath and settle. Feel that nourishment from the work and that point and the harmonizing effect in our bodies. And then imagine yourself in a circle of the class, everyone here, whether they be in this live moment or connecting at a later date, it's all good, we're all together. and from the heart and from the belly, thank you very much, everyone. A moment of thanks for this class, for each other that makes it. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, and we're going to leave it at that. Kat, thank you so much. You had so much to contend with. I noticed as the screen was kind of just...
You're welcome. I tried to join in with a few things, but I just wanted to show you on the camera that I have these two asleep on me whilst I'm trying to talk to you all.
Oh.
So there was more than just the one cat on the chat. You had 3.
3 cats on the chat. Bless you. Thank you so much, Kat. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll put in a quick heart, but then I've got to run because we've already gone over the hour.
Wonderful. Have a lovely day.
Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
Bye.